to be called winter gardening. We're from Ohio, and it was a lot easier to grow stuff back east. So when we moved out here 7 years ago, I started doing research to what you're going to grow, how to do it continually, how to construct it, improvements we've made, how we went month to month, some improvising ideas, and the cost, okay? And this is online, by the way. It's on YouTube. You can go online and you can see it for free. I uploaded it this last week. So this is the very first year. First year we did it. This is our 5th year doing this. The very first year I took lots and lots of pictures because I wanted to see this is not going to work. There's no way this can possibly work. And so I was so excited. I was out there every single day taking pictures. And so this was the first winter. You can barely see there's a hoop house there, but lots of snow. And then obviously it's cleared off. Now you can see it. And that was Christmas time. We had that harvest. So I thought that was kind of a neat picture. You'll get that at the end. So there's thing, okay? They need to be cold, hardy vegetables, and I'm going to give you a chart, okay? So if the carrots say 30 days, multiply that by 3, it's going to take you 90 days. So if you want to be eating carrots in December, go back 90 days, and that's when you need to plant them in the ground. Okay, so that's a very important rule of thumb. Write that down. And the third thing is you have to protect it somehow, okay? Two ways. You need greenhouse film, which is the plastic that goes over, and then you need a fabric on the inside, and we're going to go over that, okay? It's called... I think that's blocking the... Okay. Okay, so here's your chart. And like I said, this is online, but go ahead and take a photo of that. I have grown all of these. I've tried all of these, okay? So I know they work. And this is information that I've gotten out of his books. This is how I first learned, what he grew. I thought, oh, I can grow it too, okay? And he's got charts in the back on when he planted certain things and when he was actually able to harvest and eat them. So that's kind of what I went by. And then I adjusted it a little bit over the years based on where we are. And so again, you're going to have to adjust things too based on where you are. We're at a zone 5. Zone 5, way up by Priest Lake area. And I'm sorry, you're going to have to talk really loud.
I said, is there a name to it? I mean, where you got the information from?
I got the information from his books, okay, and online. I'm not trying to rush too much, but I have so much information to cover here. So the things here, these are little dates right here beside it that tell you when to start planting that and when to stop planting that, okay? That means it's too late. Don't even try to plant after that date because it will not germinate and it'll be a waste of time and money. See, that they're all different. There it is, okay? So that gives you an idea. Did everybody get their picture? Yes. Approximate, it's going to be different for everybody. Okay, so I talked about how to have a continual harvest. Most of you, or maybe some of you, know what succession planting is. Succession planting is when you're doing it every 2 or 3 weeks, okay? And the reason you do that is because you don't want to have a whole greenhouse full of lettuce at the exact same time, right? You're going to get tired of eating it. You'll have too much. And so I do every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, depending on what it is. And this is just a picture to show you kind of what it looks like. So you will see, down here, I planted this first. It's taller. And then you can see the next one's a little bit shorter. And then this one here, and this is this one. And then this is the last planting down here. So as you can see, you'll first be eating this. And by the time this is gone, you'll move on to this, because it'll be ready, right? And then you move on to this one, it'll be ready, and then this will be ready. So do you understand the succession planting? So what I do with my carrots, because I want to have carrots year-round, is every 2 or 3 weeks I'm planting a row of carrots. And so I've always got, fresh carrots, even in the winter. And actually, I've learned to plant them in the hoop house because they just do so much better. And then you don't have to harvest them. You just go out and pull them all year. You don't have to put them in a root cellar or anything like that. So, and approximately you're going to begin your winter planting in the middle of July. End of July, something like that, and you're going to end around sometime in October. Okay, so I'm going to go through how we built ours. Now, this is not fancy by any means, and this is not the rule, the law of how to build one. So, okay, we are not professionals by any means, and I looked through these books and I got ideas from these books. That's how we started, and Elliot Coleman recommends 12-foot width. Just for various reasons, but one is it just seems like it works better as far as walkways, because if you're thinking every walkway is 12 inches, that gives you room for either a big bed in the middle or, like I've got 4 there. Also with the 12-foot width, when you do the hoops, it gives you a 6-foot ceiling with the hoops. It just depends, but this is what he recommended, so that's what we did, and plus that's the space that we had. I would go longer if I could, but this is just what we did. I would also recommend that before you build it, if at all possible, to bring in your soil, bring in your amendments, because once you get your door up, trust me, it's not a lot of fun to be hauling in buckets of soil one at a time, some of you know. And wheelbarrows don't fit through little doorways, so keep that in mind. And I was all excited this first year to get this going, so as you can see, I've already got stuff planted, and he doesn't even have it built. He was like, stop! I can't walk around in here, quit planting stuff. I said, but I've got till October, I've got to get it in the ground, right? I'm panicking, I've got to get it done. And so that's what I did. You can see I've already got 4 rows planted there. So I've encouraged some of my friends, even if you don't have time yet to build it, go ahead, get the beds laid out, start planting something now. And as soon as your husband starts seeing it pop up, maybe he'll come out and help you build the frame, right? And if he doesn't, you can do it yourself, because I'm going to show you how. We should be handy, right? Okay, so this is not fancy, okay? This is just rough cut lumber that we used, and it's just screwed together on the corners. How many ladies can use a hammer or a drill? Okay, ladies, see, we can do this, right? But if you have a handy husband that's willing to help you, that's all the better. So it's simple, okay? Simple design. Make it the size you want. But here's the other secret that I learned from studying these books. Do not use the white PVC. PVC breaks. The sun makes it brittle and it'll break the first year, okay? Use the gray conduit. So we took 2 10-foot sections and stuck them together. You can see maybe, I don't know, whoops, sorry. It's a little bit wider right here, okay? And the other secret is the rebar. So we bought 20-foot lengths of rebar, stuck the rebar in the conduit, and that's how it stays up during the winter, under the snow. Okay, that's the secret. It bends. Yeah, it bends just fine, no problem. So then, he held on one end, and I bent it over to the other end, and he attached it right there. You can see just these little brackets you can get at any store. They're just screwed in, right there. The board's right there. Oh boy, you would ask me that. I don't remember. 10. I think there were 10. 2 by 10. You can seal it if you want to. I'll leave that all up to you. There's different ideas on how to do that if you want to seal the frame. Might be a good idea, though. Yeah, it's 12 by 20. This is how we did the top. We just ran another section of 20 foot all along the top here. Okay? And then this is how we attached the ribs in the center. These are called metal conduit clamps, and they have the self-tapping screws, and like I said before, it equals about 6 foot tall. Works for me because I'm not real tall. And then the first year, we actually had these here. They're not needed. All right, so we put the hoops, I'm thinking, if I remember right, like every 4 feet or something like that. 4 feet. I believe. It's 20 foot, so we can count them, right? Nope, it's not. I don't know. Somebody do the math for me. Is it 2? 3? About 3? Depending on your snow load, okay? So if you're down here and you don't get a lot of snow, you don't need to worry about probably quite so many hoops, maybe. But we had a lot of snow, so we put them close together, and we didn't know. So this is how we finished the front, and this is just not a fancy thing, but you know, it's just a little door right here. And you can see it from this angle here too. And this right here, I'll talk about on the next slide. This is how we attached the end hoop to the frame where the door was, and that's rubber there, and I'll show you that. Yeah. So this is just the whole finished thing there the first year. And this is probably, I'm guessing, the beginning of October, and you can see all the stuff that's already growing in there. I hear a question. Yes? Oh, no, that's a fence. That's for something I'm growing in the other part of the garden. I had to stand back and take the picture, and so it's got something else in it. That's not part of the hoop house. Sorry, I just wanted to show you the whole frame there. All right, so here's how we did the one end, and you know what? You can go on YouTube and you can see how people do theirs. It does not have to be this fancy. What we did was we were initially planning on putting ventilation windows in there. That's what all these little cutouts are. And we've never done that. It's still just one solid sheet of plastic, okay? And we're gonna do ventilation down here too, but that's not necessary. So basically you just need a door, right? And like a frame across there and there.
On each side?
Yeah. And this down here, these are just little wooden furring strips with little finishing nails that we put in there, and that's held up for 5 years. It's really done really well. So here you can see we've got the plastic. Put your plastic on the ends first and clip it down, and I'll show you that next. Do that first, and staple that all up or nail that all up along there, okay? And then do the other end the same way. Do that first. And then, well, I'll show you this. This is how we attach the plastic, okay? So you can buy these, obviously, online, but on a budget. We made our own out of black plastic water pipe that we had. We just hacked it, you know, into pieces. And we got these rubber tire tubes from Les Schwab for free, and we cut them into little squares like this. And I would highly recommend put something under your clips, because if you don't, right away you'll have a hole in your plastic, just like that. I mean, it's sharp. It will. So this is how I was telling you on the other slide. We took a bigger piece of rubber right there and tied it around the door frame to the rib, you know, on the end, the hoop. And that's held up for 5 years, no problem. And the reason we did that was to protect the plastic from the corner of the wood right there, see it? So we put rubber around any abrasive section of the frame that we didn't want, you know, the plastic to get a hole in. And we did it down here on the end too, you can see. So this is the vent that he made me. It's a European design, and we got that idea out of one of these books. So basically just the whole thing folds open like this window here. And see, we just put these brackets on, hinges on here. And then he stapled another little piece of rubber over the hinge, because we didn't want the plastic getting a hole in it again, and that has held up perfectly still to this day. And see, that's not fancy. And it could be done a million different other ways, I'm sure. This is just the way that we did ours, okay? I like this vent because it's so big, and if it's extremely hot, you can just open the whole entire thing. But what we have, I'll go over it. What we have right now is an automatic opener up there, and I'll show you that too. So that's how we did the two ends. And then when you're all done with the two ends, then you roll your plastic over the top last. And then you're going to attach, you know, all of your plastic clips on each end there. And so we did use, this is going bad, your clicker. I may need the other one, because this is barely showing up right here. Yeah. Well, no, I'm trying to use the laser. There's the white PVC. We used a 20-foot piece of that just to roll up. So we roll that side up right there. That's what we use that for. And now we've changed that out to metal. And then these right here we put right on the front of the hoop house. And the reason we did that was to hold that pipe there, because if you don't, it'll just unroll itself onto the ground and there goes all of your plastic. So that's what these are for right here, okay? All right, so there's the whole entire finished thing. So the next rule of thumb to remember is that you want to make sure that you've got your plastic covered. So ladies, you've got till October, mid-October to get that plastic on, right? Okay. 6 mil greenhouse plastic. Buy the good stuff, okay? Do not go to a hardware store and get 2 mil, 4 mil, because you'll be replacing it probably by the middle of winter. It'll be brittle and won't be any good.
We've had 6 mil up for almost 13 years. Double.
That's awesome.
But we got
6 mil.
but you can still get that with 6 mil at Home Depot too.
Okay. So this was, I got mine at Johnny's and it was a little less than $200, and it was enough for us to do this twice. So we've only used half of it so far. I still have half of it left. If I need to, I could recover it. But it's been on there for 5 years, the same piece. And, we did have a tree limb fall on it once, and, when I'm shoveling snow off of it, sometimes I get a little nick or a hole, and you can cover that up, but it's amazing how strong that stuff is. So once you put the plastic cover on it, it's going to drive me nuts. Okay, so if somebody could get me a clicker that works, I'll trade you out. You are now moving your plants from a zone 5 to a zone 6.5, just by doing that. One simple thing, which is amazing, okay? So if you're already in a zone 6, you're moving it down to a 7.5, whatever it is, a whole zone and a half, okay? This is according to his research here. Is that ready? Thank you so much. Okay, perfect. All right, so this is the greatest thing about winter gardening. You don't have to water anything. You don't have to do any maintenance. You just go in there and harvest your food, okay? And I will say I watered things maybe twice in the last 5 years. And that's because I looked under the cover. I'm like, oh, it looks a little bit dry. I'm going to go ahead and give it some water, okay? So this is when you're going to start adding floating row covers. Is in November, at least for us, it's in November, okay? Before it starts freezing inside the greenhouse. House, okay? So keep an eye on your temperatures. And the covers, this is what they do. They capture the daytime heat, they warm the soil during the day, which helps it to stay warmer at night, okay? And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Here are my famous wickets, not mine, but Elliot Coleman's. So I brought one up here. So this is the size that I use. So basically, this is number 9 wire. You can get this at any hardware store. And you just want it to be the length or the width of your bed, whatever that is. And then you want the legs to be long enough to go down into the soil so that the plant is 12 inches below the cover, if that makes sense. Okay, so about 12 inches. My plant is right here. And that is to protect it from any type of damage. And something else I learned was make sure you put these in the ground before your soil freezes. It can be very difficult to drive these in, and they have many bent legs and things like that, but anyway. And I also recommend putting them every 3 feet. I used to do every 4 feet, and you'll see on the pictures, there's just too much drooping between the plants, okay, which causes damage. So here we are the first year. And again, this is called AG19 fabric, and I'm sure you can buy this other places, okay? But like I said, the first year I wanted to do everything the way he did it to make sure that it worked. So I'll have this upstairs and you can feel it. But basically it lets in 85% of the light. And in the wintertime, that's the important thing, is the light. It's not heat. There is no heat, okay? It's the light that the plants need. And I've had people ask me, and so I went back and I did a little bit of research, why don't you just put a heavier weight fabric in there to protect it? Maybe they'll grow better, but they don't, because the heavier weight fabric, according to Elliot Coleman, only keeps it 2 degrees warmer, lets in only 50% of the light, and adds to more soil freezing. So I said, all right, well, I'm going to stick with this, okay? So that's what I use, and it's fairly inexpensive. And, one sheet like this, actually, half of that did my whole hoop house. So I still had a whole pile of that left. So yeah, as you can see, after you add your covers inside the hoop house, you are now at a zone 8. Isn't that amazing? Just by putting this fabric over top of the plants are tricked into thinking now they're at a zone 8. It's just amazing. We do, yeah. You need approximately 4 hours of light during the day. That's what he recommends. Well, obviously you're not going to have sunny days, at least up where we are. We can go for weeks and weeks without sun, okay? But if you keep your greenhouse uncovered from the snow, it's still getting it's still getting light. It's still getting light.
Is it expensive?
This, I can't remember, this might have been, it was on sale, maybe $20 or something for that whole thing. I've got a catalog upstairs that you can look at. So like I said, I took a lot of pictures the first year. So I went outside and I looked at the outside thing and it says 21 degrees. I can't believe this. I'm going up to the greenhouse. I want to see what it's like in there. It was 53. I could not believe it. And that's the same time of day. And what I want to say about harvesting is that you need to harvest between the middle of the day when the plants thaw out. It's actually crazy. The plants are going to freeze. They actually freeze, okay? And your covers freeze. As you can see, there's too much drooping right here. So the next year I knew to put them closer together, but anyway. So everything is going to freeze. So if you go up there too early in the morning and thinking you're going to pick yourself a salad, you can't because your covers are frozen solid. You can't even move them. Don't try it because it'll tear, okay? So wait until everything thaws out when you go in there and then just move your cover and, yeah, harvest. Another thing that I learned after a couple years of trial and error was that if you're expecting a lot of cold temperatures, maybe for, I would say, more than one night, I would say like 2 or 3 nights in a row, like below 0 temperatures, just add another cover, okay? You could do 3 covers, 2, 3 covers, as many covers as you want to do. I've only done 2, and I've been fine. The first year I didn't know that. And we had no way to know what the temperature was anyway, so it's kind of a surprise when you wake up, oh, it was minus 12 last night. I wonder how the plants are. So the first night, they'll probably be okay. But if they're going on like that for a while, they will suffer a lot of damage, okay? You can clip the damaged parts of the plant off, and it will come back. But you know how that is in the garden with damaged plants. So it's best if you know ahead of time, go ahead and just throw an extra cover over it. And then during the day, when you go back up there, when everything thaws out, take it off because they can overheat, and that's not a good thing either. Okay, so let me go over a couple of improvements. That's the basic construction and the idea of the winter gardening. So these are things that we have done now, and I'll tell you the reason why is because when we first dug out the hillside for our hoop house, we had a mudslide the 2nd or 3rd year, I can't remember, and it took out the back corner of the hoop house. So we had to take the whole thing down, dig out the mud, we built a retaining wall back there, and start over, basically. And so when we started over, I said, oh, let's do this and let's do that. It wasn't fancy, okay? But what we did, because we have so much snow, was we built a little wall in the back here, and we used guardrail posts. You can use, whatever you want if you wanted to. But the reason is because the snow comes off the top and piles up back here, and I was tired of having to remove all of that snow. So I said, if we just have a wall right here, it can pile up a little bit more. So that's why we did that, okay? The other thing we did was we added an extra support on the top just for peace of mind, because I knew sometimes I'm laying there thinking, it's snowing outside and they're calling for 2 feet of snow tonight. Is that going to hold up? Now, it has. We've had up to probably 18 inches on there before we had the supports, and it was fine. But I was always a little bit nervous. What's going to happen? So he graciously put this in there for me with some support. So that's just an idea if you are in a heavily snow area. The other thing I did was I went ahead and I put in some boards around the beds. Now again, this is like 3 years later, okay, after we had some extra time, maybe a little extra funding that we could do this. And then I put this bird netting in here, and the reason was because, oh, come on, keeping the critters out because we have cats. So that's why I did that. And this is my automatic opener, and maybe you are familiar with this. I think it's Avent. I believe, A-V-E-N-T, I think. We got that on eBay. But anyway, this thing right here has some type of, I think it's wax or something in there. And when it gets hot, it melts and pushes this open automatically. And so I didn't have to go up there every single day and open the vent and close the vent and open the vent and close the vent. And so you can see it working right here. So that's really neat. And I've seen somebody put these actually on the front door of the greenhouse too, sideways. Okay, so your front door is opening automatically and your back window is opening automatically. So there you go, you've got ventilation going through the whole thing and you didn't have to lift a finger, right? That's great. These are some more improvements. We put a handle on this, and we actually put a metal pipe on there then because the plastic white PVC started to bend. We didn't like that, so we did this here. This is really hard to see, but I wanted to kind of point this out to you. This is string. So we put some little eyelets down here and screwed them in, and we just ran string back and forth like a V, all the way across, you know, back and forth. And the reason we did that was because sometimes we get wind, you know, and the wind would hit that plastic and whew, you know, all the clips and everything would come off, and we did that a couple times, had to put it back on, and we said, what can we do to keep this plastic on? So we did some more research, and so that's why we did that, and it hasn't come off since, so that's been nice. And then this, like I said, not fancy. This came out of an old truck, just a fan. And he just ran a little cord outside, and we have a little solar panel that we got online for, I don't know, 80 bucks or something like that. And I just run an extension cord to the fan. And so the fan only runs when the sun is hitting the solar panel, which is perfect, right? You don't need it to run at night. And I would highly suggest if you are going at 20 feet long or longer, you've got to have ventilation. If you do not have some type of fan running, you will get bugs. You will get spider mites, aphids. You will have all sorts of problems, okay? So run something. I used to run an extension cord up there and just put a box fan in it because that's all we had, but get something running, okay? And then the other thing that I did was I installed this PVC watering system. So it comes down, it goes across the back of the greenhouse and then back again, and it's got little valves that you can just turn on and off. But sometimes, actually most of the time, I don't use that because it squirts out all over the place. So I just hand water right now. Maybe someday I'll figure out a better way. All right, so now I'm going to take you through every month of the year, okay? And the reason I'm doing this is to show you that what you can grow all year long, what you need to do that month, okay? Because I used to think, oh, it's September, we had a frost, it's over, everything's done for. But that's not true, you're just beginning, all right? And as we've been learning this weekend, we need to be growing our own food all the time, not just in June, July, and August, okay? Tough times are coming, so that's why I'm doing this. So this is just gives you an idea of things that we were growing and harvesting in November. This is not everything. This is just some of the stuff. And like I said before, I've got carrots in there year-round and celery in there year-round. You can do potatoes year-round. You can do just about anything, really. It just depends on the space that you have, honestly. So we did November, okay? So now December. Make sure you're removing the snow. You cannot just ignore it all winter and let your plants die because they don't get any light, okay? Take the snow off. You have to do that. This is just another comparison here of the temperature. More things that we were growing in December and Christmas. Again, this was the first year, so for me it was really exciting. It's Christmas, let's have a salad, and it's just amazing that you can go out there and you can do that. It's just a miracle is what it is. So I took these from his book, and it just gives you an idea of the temperature differences. I thought it was fascinating. Look at that, if it's 28 degrees outside, it's 70 under the covers. Isn't that crazy? It is just amazing. And this is all Elliot Coleman's research, not mine, but I just thought it was fascinating. So now we're into January. And what I want to mention is that it can get very hot in there when the sun actually does come out in the wintertime. You better go up there and you better take your covers off and you better open the door, okay? Because winter plants do not like it warm. They will bolt, they will die, they will shrivel up, okay? So keep an eye on the temperature always. So as you can see, it was 70 that one day I went up there, and I said, oh, this is not good. So I uncovered everything, opened everything up, cooled it all down, and then, before I went to bed, I went and recovered everything back up again. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me go back one just for a second. So in January is when you're going to begin sowing your seeds. And actually, it's providential that I got to talk to you yesterday, too, because I thought, I don't want to explain all this. How do I do this? So I already taught you yesterday how to sow your seeds inside. So in January is when you're going to start sowing your seeds that are going to go out into your hoop house, okay, later, after your winter harvest is over. So here's what you would sow in January, okay? This stuff right here, it's yellow, at least where we are. All right? Now we're into February. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. So like I mentioned, I think yesterday, celery takes a really long time to germinate. That's why I said to start it and then. Spinach and lettuce like it cold. Most of you probably already know that. So if you start that early, then you can right away start putting that in your greenhouse, your hoop house, after it's big enough to do that. And the sweet potato slips, you can look on YouTube on how to do that, but it's pretty exciting to know that you can grow sweet potatoes actually and start them early because they take a while too. Okay, so in February is when the long days begin to come back. Okay, 10-hour days start coming back in February. And so February is the time when your plants will begin to start taking off, okay? So keep that in mind. Just another example of things that we're growing. So in February, in your house, I mentioned this last night, this is what you'll start, okay? According to my schedule anyway. Yours may not quite be that early, but again, this gives you an idea. And also, it's usually around the end of February you're going to take all your covers off because it's just so warm, okay? And you don't want it that warm in there. And you're also going to start watering again. And this is the first year, there was 4 rows of plants because I was excited and I planted way too much. And actually right now, I think I forgot to mention on the other slide, but right now I only do 1 bed right there for winter. That's all I need. Okay, so March, I don't remember what year that is, but look at all the snow we still had in March. Yeah, here's my 1 bed right here that I'm growing in the winter time. And here's what you start in March, inside, not in your hoop house, in your house, okay? Because you're going to be putting them in your hoop house later. So again, each month you're doing something. Always planning ahead, okay? Always getting ready for something, preparing for something, okay? Did everybody get this one so I can go on? Okay, one time I had somebody ask me during a presentation, are the plants really growing or are they just kind of hanging out there and surviving? So I went back and I looked at pictures because I wanted to know, and they're actually growing, okay? So this is a 6-month period from October to March. October to March. So what do you think? Are they growing? They're growing very, very slowly, but there is some growth there. And like I said, especially in February, they'll just take off. So yeah, the answer is they are growing. Okay, so in April and May, I just put all of that together because it just depends on the year, all right? So basically, you're still going to just keep harvesting your winter stuff. You're going to continue succession planting, and then you're going to start bringing your transplants out that you had started, right, in January and February and March. So took me 3-4 years to finally learn this, but right here is just the winter stuff, okay? And the reason I do that is because, first of all, it's plenty of greens for us, okay? The reason I do that is because I want this all empty. And I need it empty because in April and May, I'm doing other things. I have to have this ready for this, okay? You have to have some open space for what you're going to be bringing out. Because with us, we still have snow on the ground in April. I can't do anything outside, usually until May. So by leaving this open, it's ready for your transplants. So as you can see right here, this stuff is starting to bolt, go to seed. The winter stuff is just about done. But that doesn't matter, right? Because you planted your lettuce and your spinach and all these things early, so you brought them out. You can bring them out now and put them in the ground. So you always have a continuous harvest of something fresh to eat as long as you keep doing this. And these are the tomatoes that were brought out. One year I brought them out a little bit early. I thought, oh, I'm just going to try this. And it didn't work out too well. A lot of them died. But what I suggest, and I talked about this a little bit last night, when you harden them off. So I harden my plants off now in the hoop house. I don't need to put them out under a tree. I just put them directly in there. But with things that are delicate, like the tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant, put them in the hoop house and cover them with this, okay? Because it's still cold at night for them, and they've been in your nice, warm, cozy house. So I would suggest covering them up with this for maybe a week, depending on the weather, the temperatures, and then take that off, let them continue to sit in there and harden off some more, and then put them in the ground. And this right here, these are the carrots, okay? So what I do, because carrots love tomatoes. I don't know if you know about companion planting at all, but they get along really well. So what I do is I just plant these little rows of carrots here. I'll do one here, 2 weeks later I'll do another one here, 2 weeks later I'll do one here, 2 weeks later here. You see what I'm saying? I plant them all around the tomatoes, okay? Because they love each other, and they grow deep down into the soil. And so these, you know, could be like 6 feet tall all the way to the top, and they're sheltering all the carrots that are growing underneath. And so by the time these are done and you're pulling them out, you can start getting into your carrots back in here, right? Just something else that I learned. Okay, so we're still in April and May. So I'm going to assume that you can probably put your beans in the ground by May. I would hope so anyway. But like I mentioned, I went ahead this year and I put my bush beans in the flats, in the little packs, pony packs I think they're called. And that way I knew which ones came up and which ones didn't. Go ahead and start your melon seeds. And actually, you can do these in the hoop house, like it says right here. You don't need to do anything else in your house now because it's warm enough outside that you should be able to germinate melon seeds, cucumber seeds, and squash seeds in your hoop house. So just get your little pots and stick them somewhere on your workbench or in the aisle or whatever, and then you've got those going. Okay, so this is June. This is right now. This is what's going on in there right now. So this is all the winter stuff going crazy, okay, because it doesn't like the heat. And I'm letting it go to seed. What I usually do is just keep one plant and tie it up. Otherwise, it's all the way down in your, walkway. And I pull all the other ones out and compost them, okay? So clean this out and get it ready for July, because July is when you're going to start your winter planting. So in June, I've already got peppers in there. I've already got peppers in there this big. And, I've already got tomatoes in there this big. So start early. Start early. Okay? And then the saving seed, this is the best book that I have found. Any plant you want to save a seed from is in here. It teaches you how to do it, tells you. It's seed to seed, and it's right here. And I have, so these are the tops of onions. So she suggests, when they die off. This is not quite dead, but I just wanted to show it to you anyway. You can see the little black seeds, and you put it in a paper bag and shake it, and all the seeds will come off. And there you've got your green onion seeds. And then these are from just different greens. So once they start to die, I don't have a picture of that one, but that's okay. They seed, and then they have these long things that come out from the flowers, and you have to wait for them to dry, and as soon as they dry, you just open it up, and all the seeds pop out. Okay, so that's how you would save seeds from that. These are carrot seeds. Same thing, wait for it to flower, then die, and then all the seeds will just pop out of it. Okay? So July is when you're going to start your first winter planting. So now we're back to the summer. We're almost there. Ladies, get ready. Start getting your seeds now, okay? Get your area prepared. You've got a month. You've got time. You can do this, okay? Trust me, you can do it. So this is what we did the first year. You can see I did, I don't remember the order, but spinach was here, and then kale, and then whatever, beets and bok choy. I spaced it out like that. And I didn't really like that. The reason is because, let me show you. I roll it up for ventilation. I roll the plastic up. So when you do it like this, when you go out there in the wintertime to harvest, and you want spinach here, and then you want beets from here, you have to take the whole entire cover off the whole entire row, okay? So for me, I said, oh, that's just something else I have to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put everything together in one section, all my favorite stuff. So this green, then that, then this, then that, and then some onions, and then this, and then that, all in one section, okay? That way when I go out there, I can just move the cover back just from this one little section, and I've got everything just right there that I need. And then everything over here will be ready later, right? And then this will be ready later, okay? So I kind of like that method. I guess obviously that's up to you, but... So in August, you're going to do your second planting. 2 weeks later, you do your third planting, okay? That's just a watermelon there. I thought that was cool. And then eggplants and peppers. These are the Baker Creek Horizon orange peppers, and they are wonderful. Like candy. All right, and then September, more planting. 4th planting, 2 weeks later, 5th planting. October, you're going to do your final planting. 1 or 2, just depending on how you do it, maybe 2. And it also depends on how much space you have. If you're going to do your whole greenhouse and winter stuff, you can just keep planting and planting. You know, you can do them maybe every 1 week instead of every 2. But this is what has worked for us. Okay, so maybe you can't have a hoop house, you don't have the room or whatever, so we're going to improvise. What can we do instead? Here's some ideas for you. I thought this one was kind of neat. If you have a lot of snow, I might recommend doing 2 bales high and then filling it with dirt that way, and then you don't have to remove all that snow around it all the time. But I thought, oh, these are great. And this, actually, I think this is from Elliott Coleman. Actually, it looks familiar. So again, it's not fancy, but you can see they keep the snow removed from it, okay? So I think that we could all do this, right? All of us have enough space that we could do something like this. The ground freezes, yeah, the plants freeze and all that, but you know what you can do? You could put a row cover in there too. But again, be careful because this is glass, so make sure you're ventilating it. You could scorch all your plants very easily. And I briefly touched on this last night, but you know, my 10-year-old built this for me for Mother's Day, and it's not fancy. It's 1 hoop, not 2, it's 1 little hoop, just stuck in there with a rebar in the ground. We stuck a piece of rebar in the ground and put it on that. And then we just went around and clipped it. And then during the day, I would go out and I would just lift it up and clip it. And this is a pallet that he cut in half for the frame, and then he built me a little door. And maybe some of you have seen these. I'm sure this is kind of popular right now. You can get a cattle panel at any hardware store for around 20 bucks. Just bend the whole thing over just like that. Put yourself a little door in there, put a little piece of plastic over it, there you go. You got yourself a hoop house for less than probably, well, you got to buy the plastic, so I don't want to say. The plastic is what is expensive. But you could go in with somebody. If you don't need a 100-foot roll, share it with somebody, and it might only cost you 25 bucks to put some plastic over that, okay? So here's the approximate cost. This was 5 years ago. People have asked me, so I just kind of quickly threw something together. And again, it just depends on how you do it and, you know, where you shop. This is the website, and I have cards upstairs with the website on it too. Just click on this, and it'll take you to YouTube, and you can watch it. The same thing that I just did right now, okay? Although I probably gave you a little bit more information right now. Yes, question? I believe that 12 foot wide is what he recommends, and so that's what we did. And for the plastic, the size of the plastic and the walkways and all of that, it just worked better. Okay, so yeah, that's just a sample of what we've grown. Does anybody know what this is? Okra. Did you know you could grow okra way up north? Isn't that amazing? Yeah. I'm not going to do it again because it's not my favorite thing, but my husband liked it, so I tried it for him. Okay, any questions on this presentation? And then I'm going to go right into the wild edibles. Wow, I must be really good at explaining things. Okay. I'll put these books back upstairs if people want to look at them. And I have a sample of the little rubber in the clip if anybody wants to look at that too. Okay, give me just a minute. Sorry, you're okay. Oh, no. Okay, so let's go on. How are we doing on time? Does anybody know? Okay, yeah, I'll be done in 20 minutes or less, actually, probably less. Okay, so when Gwen asked me to do this, I thought this was going to be on separate nights, separate times. I didn't realize it was all together, but anyway, that's okay. It works out. So first of all, let me give a little disclaimer. Always have to have a disclaimer. You can read that for yourself. But I am not a professional herbalist or anything like that. I do not have any degrees. I do not have any, what are they called? I can't think right now. Behind my name, yeah. Letters behind my name, okay. This project right here, this book that I wrote, was born out of a desire of having something in my pocket when I go out and I hike and I backpack. And I knew that there would be days coming when we would be fleeing, right, and things like that. And I wanted to learn, what can I eat? I want to know, what can I eat in this area? I don't care what I can eat in Florida, right? I want to know right here where I live. So I came up with this idea, and I originally was just going to do this simple, tiny little thing that was stapled together at the library, just printed off on their color copy machine. And it was going to cost me so much money, I couldn't believe it. And then at Providential, when Gwen asked me to do this, she goes, "Dawn, I have a publisher." I said, "Praise the Lord." And it was less. And it turned out so nice. And they're Adventists. And so it was great. It worked out great. Okay, enough with the disclaimer. Okay, so what I've included in the book here is how, can you read that at all? That looks really light. Can we shut off one of the lights? Maybe that would help just a little bit. We should have said something earlier that the color of the slide doesn't help. I'm sorry. So what I included, and actually she mentioned she's going to start recommending that every medical missionary carry one of these in their backpack. And I thought, what a great idea. And I didn't know when I started this project how far and wide this would go. I didn't know what it would be used for. But I thought, what a great idea. Because every plant in here tells you how to use it medicinally. And so when I heard her talking about, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, let me just do this slide right here. So this explains what a decoction is. A decoction is when you're boiling the plant root. Okay, it says for 30 minutes. And then you mix it with some water and you drink it. Okay, ointments or salves. Again, these are so easy to make. You can look these up online, how to make salves. Poultices, we've already talked about. You can powder these plants. You can make different teas and infusions, and a tincture. A tincture is kind of like a cough syrup. I don't know if she covered this. I wasn't down here. But there's different ways you can do that with vegetable glycerin or apple cider vinegar. Some people say to use alcohol. I'm not condoning that, but I guess it has an indefinite shelf life if you use that. I'm just going to go over a few, okay? Not very many, but just a few to give you an idea. So I found this on a hike. Arrowleaf balsam root. Has anybody seen this flower beside the highway? Did you know you could eat it? Okay. It's nasty. Yeah, my husband was like, "Oh, this is in your book. I'm going to try it." Takes a big old bite. "Oh, this is gross." Well, just because it's edible, it might not taste that great. You might need to get it and steam it or something like that, or cook it. But I tell you what, if you're starving to death in the middle of nowhere, at least you know you can eat it, right? And a lot of times, if the plant is younger, it's better. It's more edible. If it's younger. Once it starts to flower, it starts to turn bitter. So that's how you can use, Excuse me. Yeah, sometimes it is, yes. So I go through these. This is called cleavers. Maybe you've seen these before. I don't know. But those are pretty much everywhere. So you can make a tea out of this. You can and put it on your skin. Use it for psoriasis, okay? You can powder it, and it stops bleeding. Isn't that amazing? So if you go out, and I'm telling you this to do this now because I'm seeing these plants now. I'm taking these photos now. So go out and find these plants and start drying them in your dehydrator. Start powdering them and put them in your medical missionary kit. And then look, you've got something that can stop bleeding right there. You didn't have to pay a penny for it. If you went online and you tried to buy this kind of powdered stuff, it is extremely expensive. Yes. That was Cleaver's. Yeah, they're all in the book. These are all in there. I just took a few that I thought maybe yeah, I have them here. They're upstairs. I'm asking 10 or a donation because I want to get them out, actually. And if you have people that can use them, let me know. I can, if you want to do a bulk rate or something like that. But anyway, most of you probably know what kinnikinnick is. This grows everywhere. It is just vines all over the side of every hillside, I think. And they have the berries that you eat. Crush the berries, again, you can use for burns and cuts. So dehydrate the berries. Keep the berries. They're easy to find. We all know about clover. Okay, so what you need to do right now is go out and start collecting clover and dry them. Have buckets of it, okay, or jars at least. Clover is so good for you. So you can take clover in your medical missionary bag and go out and use it for tea for somebody, okay? Look, you can make it into a poultice. And look what it's full of. And it's free. It's in everybody's yard. I'm sure it is. And we all know about dandelions. And they taste good. And you can make dandelion jelly and tea and all. It's called poor man's jelly. But yeah, it's full of all sorts of good things too. Has anybody seen the fireweed? Okay. So you can eat the whole thing, whole plant. And if you take this stem right here and you start peeling off the green, there's a white pith in the center that tastes very good too. Sore throat, food poisoning, and diarrhea. Who would have thought, right? This has been a lot of research to put this together. And really, it's God's book. He helped me with it. He gave me the idea. He brought people into my life that showed me how to get this published, how to get the information out to people. And it's just amazing. When you're willing to be made willing, what God will do for you. Okay. So I thought this was kind of good. Look at that. Heals wounds. And these are all over the place, at least in my garden. They're a weed. Uh-huh. She talked about plantain already, and I know this is everywhere too. This is another one that is so good for all sorts of things. Now, I did not cover everything. I don't have room to cover everything in here that's listed. I just tried to hit the highlights. Go out and get the plantain and start drying it, okay? Crush it up, make it into a powder, and keep it in your bag. You can also make plantain chips, like kale chips. And they're free. Okay. This is just another one. I don't know if you tried it. It tastes like lettuce. Most of these just taste like lettuce. That one's out too. It looks like a marijuana leaf. That one's really easy to identify. We all know about stinging nettles. I've heard that this is one of the best things that you can eat nutritional-wise. I have a friend that stores buckets of these things. So again, dry them, okay? And if you put these over a fire, it'll get rid of the stinging nettles. You can eat them that way. Wild violets, most of us know we can eat violets. But did you know that you could use the tea like aspirin and make a poultice out of the leaves? So if you're out in the woods, just take a violet leaf and chew it up. There's your poultice. These are two new ones that I have just discovered, and a friend actually sent me this one. I have not seen this one before, but that's what it's called, so you can do your own research on these two. These are not in the book, these two right here. These are bonus. But this tastes very good. This was probably my favorite one. That was so good, and they're little tiny little things. So do your research on those two as far as what they're good for. I don't know. And these are ones that we all know about, I think. Did you know you can eat all the briars? Okay. Cattail, I'm sure we all know about the cattail. The ferns, you know, you can eat them when they're young, when they're still rolled up before they come out. Otherwise, they're very bitter. I think we all know about the pine needles and the nuts. Okay, we know about all of that stuff. Oh, and that's it. There we go. Did we finish on time? Yay! So we have time. Does anybody have questions?
Daylilies are very poisonous to cats.
To cats? Oh, okay. Daylilies?
Any kind of lily.
Yeah. So I would suggest that you keep this with you at all times so that you can start learning them. And you know, if you've got it with you when you have to flee, you've got it, right? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. God tells us that he will, if needed, he will send manna, right? If needed. So that means that's a plan B, correct? What's plan A? He is able to spread a table before us in the wilderness. What does that mean? This. It just hit me. Yeah. What's our part? What is our part? Yes. Because, right, God provides the food for the birds, but does he drop it in their mouths? They have to go out and gather it themselves, right? Yeah, just something to think about. So I don't know, did you want to make an announcement or something?
Kathy was gonna make an announcement, I think she's kind of busy.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, Darlene has an announcement first. No.
Do you want me to make the announcement?